You're watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and welcome to another rant/random thoughts. That's right, another random thoughts. And I have a bunch of ideas for different ones of these I've wanted to do lately. But the fact of the matter is actually being motivated to do it when I'm home and ready to record, and also choosing between which topic I want to talk about, has been a bit of a pain in the ass, and actually just having the motivation to do it. But here's the one I'm going to talk about here, and that is convenience not being convenient. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of things, granted this is touching on something I've talked about many times, right? Modern technology, automation, things like that, right? But something that I think is interesting is all of the things that we're told is supposed to be like, you know, for convenience. They make things more convenient. By design, they inherently make things less convenient. For instance, newer versions of software, which used to be able to just either be bought as a one and done, or even in some cases were free, are now subscription software, and people just kind of accepted that and let that happen, which is fucking cringe. Or like I've said, you know, when they switch the different apps and stuff that we use for work, for the requesting time off, or for checking pay stubs, or getting tax info, when it used to just be in a big binder back when I first worked at McDonald's back in the day, I would just write on an actual calendar what days I want off, and then I'd get it. Here I have to put in a request on the computer, right? And again, they've changed the app since I've worked there. Granted, they changed it a while back, and the new app works fine, but also, to sign into it, I basically have to have it bookmarked because there's a bunch of variations of the website to sign into it on computer, and literally only one of them actually works with my company login info. It's really fucking annoying. Not to mention there's a bunch of messaging apps and all sorts of other things through work that I just refuse to install on my phone because I don't really think my phone should have to be cluttered with a bunch of shit just to communicate. It's like, I have my phone number, text me when they need me. I have a work email, there you go. That's all I should need, right? But no. They gotta have all this other bullshit that I gotta go through. So it's like, all these things that are supposed to be more convenient, you know, like using an app to file an insurance claim. That's so much less convenient than dealing with an insurance agent, you know, who handles your policy and you just tell them what's wrong. Because with the app, you gotta input the claim. I know I've talked about this before, but you know, like, sometimes it doesn't have the exact issue you have. So you gotta call them, and then you have to go through their automated system. And, like, basically everything is intentionally set up to make things difficult for you to do. And that's by design. It's clearly on purpose. Like, going through customer service on Amazon. You gotta talk back and forth with an AI for a while. Really, the crux of what made me want to make this video in the first place is things like benefits when you're in a workplace. For instance, the benefits programs at work have two types of enrollment. For both the insurance and for, like, the other kind, you know, like 401k and stuff, right? There's active and passive enrollment. So when it's active enrollment, you have to re-enroll yourself, or they'll just cancel all your benefits. And they do that like every other year, and they used to like email out and let me know when it was coming close to it. Now, I've got to check the app where I do like, you know, check my schedule and work request time off and stuff, and just make sure, hey, I don't see any enrollments, otherwise I gotta jump on that shit immediately. Because they intentionally make it in a way to fuck you over so they can just cut off your benefits without even telling you a fucking word about it. They fucked over plenty of my coworkers. Like, I stay on top of that shit, but I've seen other people get fucked over for all sorts of bullshit reasons with that bullshit. Another example is when I worked at Geek Squad, store issue escalations. There used to be a department for that, then they got rid of it. And then basically I just have to tell people, well, guess you're fucked, and hang up. If they had a problem with, like, people at a Best Buy store, right? Because they got rid of any sort of department to actually deal with that. And it's a lot of passing the buck, it's a lot of automation, I should say, rather. And bullshit ways to make money, you know, with things like subscription software services, things like that. Again, it's retarded that almost every editing software that you want to use is subscription-based. Microsoft Office is now exclusively subscription-based. I remember that when Microsoft Office 365 came out, it was an option because it interconnected all of them, but you had to pay for it, you know, yearly or monthly. And I'm like, that's kind of bullshit. Like, luckily, my old laptop had Microsoft Office 2013, which wasn't like that. It was just a one and done. You buy it and you have it. Now, granted, on this computer, I don't have that at all. I just use Open Office, which is completely free. But that's another thing, is just all this stuff being online. You have to be connected to the internet for everything, so if the internet goes down, you're fucked on a lot of simple things. For instance, you know something funny? With Steam being the way that it is, right? Since it doesn't technically work on Windows 7 anymore, and they have to go to some roundabout ways to launch games directly from the exe file in order to play them. Would you believe me if I told you that I don't have that problem when I'm disconnected from the internet? If I disconnect my fucking Ethernet cable, I can play any of my Steam games, no problem, because it's just disconnected so it doesn't try to connect to Steam. So for instance, when I recorded that Hatred video on New Year's, guess what? Disconnected. When I try to play Hatred now, guess what? Won't launch because Steam can't fucking connect. There's a lot of updates and bullshits that, like, operating systems and things like that have to have that supposedly make things better. But almost every time something is updated, it has a new UI that's shittier, it tracks you more. Everybody just kind of accepts that. You know, that, like, for instance, Windows 10 is basically glorified spyware in a lot of things because it keeps track of everything. I don't even want to fucking know what Windows 11 is like with that shit. But now they don't support it, because, you know, Microsoft doesn't support their legacy products anymore, which is really lame. Do you know how fucking long XP was supported before they discontinued it? A long fucking time. But Windows 10, which was supposed to be the last Windows, they're like, nope, fuck you. And again, I'm still running Windows 7, as stubborn as I am, right? And making it work in every way that I can. Again, I have plans to upgrade. That's going to be the start of a new generation when I do, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, streaming is supposed to be more convenient than physical media. But again, once a streaming service loses a license, they can just take it away from you. A lot of them require you to be connected to the internet. In fact, all of them do now. You used to be able to buy shit on, like, Xbox Video and things like that and play them offline. But with the Xbox One, you couldn't do that. You had to watch them online. But with the 360, you could download them to the hard drive, but they took that away because they take away any feature that gives you any sort of freedom with the product you buy so that they can control it, which is why I say all this inconvenience disguised as convenience is by design. It's to fuck you over. And again, I worry things are only going to get worse with that, right? AI, for instance, right? Like AI overview, when you search for things, will often give you wildly inaccurate information. But most people will just look that up and then eat that shit up and assume it's correct. Really fucking frustrating, actually, because I know that AI overview doesn't fucking work, and I've talked about this in other rants, right? Where Bother Me and I were searching for the same information, specifically converting a temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit. And we searched for it and got wildly different results from the same fucking AI, because, you know, Google's AI overview, which is bullshit. Don't forget that Google, when like fucking at one point, got tricked into thinking Stan Lee was 31 years old when he died. This shit is retarded. These AI bots are really fucking stupid. And I also feel like that's almost by design, too, to make people stupider. But hopefully I've made my point. I tried my best to kind of gather my thoughts before recording this, but I did just get off work, and I don't have the same fire in me as I did earlier when I was at work, because there was other rants I was going to make that would have been a lot more charged. But this is the one I decided to go with for now. Anyway, regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. Toodles.
You take forever to say nothing.
Subscribe to Fiji Red Eye.